Breaking news now, the inhabitants of Gaza have expressed the sentiment that there's nowhere left to go due to the unrelenting bombing by Israel. According to Mohammed Alian, last month the Israeli military ordered him and his family to evacuate the northern Gaza Strip. Among other displaced families, they sought refuge in a school in Khan Yunis, which is about 15 miles south of Gaza City, he said. The Israeli military's offensive has extended across the entire 140-square-mile enclave of Gaza, making Khan Yunis and other southern areas where civilians were ordered to evacuate even less safe. There's nowhere left to go, Alian told ABC News earlier this week as he and his family left Khan Yunis. 2 days ago, they dropped papers from the sky on Khan Yunis saying that we must evacuate and head to the south, meaning where should we go? United Nations statistics show that Israel's continuing war against the militant rulers of Gaza, Hamas, has forced over 1.8 million people, including Alian and his family, to flee their homes. This represents around 80% of the population of Gaza. Statistics made public by the Hamas government media office and the Gaza Ministry of Health show that over 17,000 people have been killed by Israeli forces in that area since the war started 2 months ago. According to Alian, the Israeli military's decision to issue more evacuation orders was driven by a desire to see casualties. What is happening to us is not war on the resistance, but a war on people, a war on citizens. An unprecedented incursion of Palestinian militant groups, including Hamas, into neighboring southern Israel on October 7 triggered the latest outbreak of war between Israel and Hamas. Numbers released by the Israeli Defense Forces and the Israeli Prime Minister's office indicate that the terror attack claimed the lives of more than 1,200 people, with over 200 others being taken hostage and returned to Gaza. A hostage prisoner exchange and the delivery of humanitarian aid into war-torn Gaza occurred during a 7-day truce that ended last month. The Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, report that since hostilities resumed on December 1, Israel has pledged to go after Hamas militants wherever they may be, bombing hundreds of targets daily in northern and southern Gaza, with a specific emphasis on Khan Yunis. The besieged territory lacks bomb shelters and air raid sirens. The southernmost point that Gazans can reach is Rafah, which is approximately 6 miles distant. As a result, many of those who sought refuge in Khan Yunis have relocated there. However, according to officials, this includes areas that have recently been bombed by the IDF. As a result of yet another order to evacuate residents of Khan Yunis to Rafah, Israeli forces have resumed their bombardment. According to Philippe Lazzarini, Commissioner General of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees in the Near East, UNRWA, the order caused panic, fear, and anxiety. December 4. It is something we have said time and time again. Once again, we say it. It doesn't matter if you're in Rafah or some other unilaterally declared safe zone, nowhere in Gaza is secure. Israeli officials insist they are focusing on Hamas and other militants in Gaza. The group denies the accusation. They also claim that Hamas hides behind civilians on purpose. We want civilians not to be in the area where we're fighting, stated IDF spokesperson Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus in an interview with ABC News earlier this week. We want to focus our firepower on Hamas and Hamas only. This week, throngs of people were spotted making their way from Khan Yunis to Rafah, transporting whatever they could fit, from mattresses to bags of clothing, in cars, on horse-drawn carts, and on foot. There is no safe area, stated an anonymous man speaking to ABC News. Wherever you go, there is bombing. I moved from Karama to Deir al-Balah to Khan Yunis and now, I'm going to Rafah and got nowhere after that, said another fleeing resident, who also chose not to provide his name, to ABC News, knowing that the dangers are constant no matter where they go. Some have opted to remain in Khan Yunis. Earlier this week, Hamza Ibrahim told ABC News, I went to the market today to buy a bag of tomatoes and some vegetables for my family, but I did not find anything. Every day, we perish due to a lack of food. And food, if available, will cost a fraction of what it did before. There is no safe place here, even in Rafah and Khan Yunis, in the middle and from north to south, according to him. We either stay in our house and die hungry, or go out and die by indiscriminate bombing. Rafah is located on the southern border of Gaza with Egypt, a country that has not completely opened its borders to Palestinians fleeing their homeland. About 2.3 million Palestinians call Gaza home since the rise to power of Hamas, a group the U.S. has labeled a terrorist organization. In 2007, the territory has been under an Israeli and Egyptian blockade. Because of Egypt's rigid policies along its shared border with Israel and the widespread travel ban on Gaza residents by Israeli authorities, human rights groups have long characterized the crowded strip as the biggest open-air prison in the world.